Welcome back to another Jazz basketball breakdown. Can't start this off without talking about some long freaking history of the Jazz not getting triple doubles being broken tonight. So Jordan Clarkson finally breaks the streak of the cold spell of the Utah Jazz not being able to get a triple double.
And if I would have had to have bet money on who would have done it, I wouldn't have thought it would have been him. The reason being is he has hot spells during a game, but he hasn't had a game of continued success long enough to accumulate all the different stats, right?
Yeah.
Many games he's up there high enough in points. Some games he's getting close in assists, but not really in rebounds. But good for him, man. Pulled it off first time since February 2008.
Carlos Boozer.
Since the Carlos Boozer days.
Yeah.
So, heck of a job, man.
And this was his best game of the season, in my opinion. And not just because he got a triple-double, right? This was his best game of the season overall of a game. And it also happened to go along with the really first game he played really within the offense.
He did. Had a little spell there in the second quarter where he controlled 4 or 5 possessions in a row of losing the ball. And
it was 6 possessions in a row because we were counting because it was just like,
not
oh my
good.
gosh.
And let's be honest, in a normal season, say that we'd had a Jazz player get a triple-double last year.
Right.
Would we have kept him on to get that triple-double with us being up 40?
And that was kind of my thing down the stretch. That's my thing is down the stretch, like you're a rebound away. Like, I don't mind you can, being like, oh, let's go get the rebound. But there comes a point where it's like, you're up 40 points. Why are you on the court?
The other team has put in their third stringers already like 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It was a weird deal. Good for him, dude.
Yeah,
Enjoy it. You got the game ball. Yeah. Jazz fans are happy.
I'm happy we finally broke the streak, And like I said, this was really, there was a lot of plays. He had so many plays, less plays of just putting his head down and just trying to take control. And like you said, there was the one moment in the second quarter where he did that, and it just went back to just really bad flowing offense, and there was no flow. Beyond that, it was driving and kicking and looking for the kick. Consistently looking for the right basketball play. When he drives down low and gets in the paint and then rises up, he's really good. He's good in that point.
He's stronger to the hole than he really surprised me a lot. Yeah. He's really strong to the hole.
And so
the stretch with him and Olynyk together, moving and passing, was high really level, nice. And it really broke their back. Made it so that we didn't have to bring back in our starters because our starters weren't really manhandling the game. Markkanen was off. Looks like he's a little bit injured, to be honest. Sexton wasn't quite having his normal game. He's had his first off game in a while.
Yeah.
I thought Collins played well. Interesting how they tried to isolate Collins was their game plan.
Right.
You could see they would do a slow screen to get Collins on Luka and then just kind of do 1v1 basketball. Collins isn't bad at 1v1 defense. He's not bad at that. And so a lot of the times he played strong defense, contested the shot, did well. So I thought that was kind of a flawed game plan by Jason Kidd, let's be honest.
Yeah, it was weird on the way they decided to attack us. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like you said, Sexton's, this is his worst game in a while, and not just like he couldn't hit a shot. This was way more back into the old Sexton of just taking several possessions where he's just taking really stupid shots, things like that, and so it was good not having to play him.
It was true.
Heavy minutes this game.
Our bench absolutely destroyed him, and that's great because we do have depth of NBA level players, right? That's kind of part of our gift this year and part of the curse is trying to find playing time for all those guys. Out of the starters, Fontecchio really was solid.
He started
hitting shots, had some blocks. Really good game from Fontecchio. I don't know if it's a new hairstyle or what. He's breaking out a little bit new with the gel. Looks like he's got some dark hair coloring in.
Early 2000s freaking.
Yeah, he's got it spiked up a little bit.
Just need the frosted tips.
That's right. I'm down. I approve. We'll go with it. He played really well, but our bench really came out. One thing that's kind of interesting, talk about, is Clarkson for a long stretch was starting, and up until the point where he was injured and went out and was out for a couple weeks. We wondered, is this something where they're going to shut him down until trade time? What's going to happen? in our defense, in our lineup during that stretch really became strong and started to have a defensive identity.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, as you've seen, the stat they showed during the game is we're up to a defensive rating of 12th in the league during that stretch.
The last 10 games, we were rated 12th.
Then all of a sudden, he comes back in, and he's the gravy on top coming off the bench with those starters and with that identity, and it's clicking.
Yes.
It's clicking very nicely. You can't ever say that everything's perfect, but man, the proof is in the pudding out there. I mean, look at the last stretch of games we've had. We've won 5 of 6, 8 of 11. We handled the Miami Heat on Saturday, big win. Handled the Mavericks, full strength, full health,
and same style of play we went into the Heat game. We went into this game with of just wanting to play a very physical, hard-nosed, grinded out defensive style game. And the Mavericks did not like that.
They crumbled.
You could tell Kyrie and Doncic really struggled with it. Doncic was at one point like 3 for 12, I think, or 6 for 18.
6 for 18 at one point.
And it was, I think, where he ended, and you could tell he was not liking the way the physicality came at him.
Yep.
Chris Dunn, we had a stretch of Chris Dunn and Agbaji on the court at the same time. Now, this was a really bad game by Agbaji on the offensive side of the court, but the difference between the Heat game and this game, he really just struggled overall in the Heat game. This game defensively, he was really good, and him and Chris Dunn, they ran at one point him and Dunn against Doncic and Irving, and you could tell they were not enjoying it.
We did a stretch for a while with a box and one with Agbaji on Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
And they just started missing shots after shot after shot, and the ball wasn't going through Irving as much.
And that was the thing too that does need to be mentioned is this game should have been a lot closer in the first half, if not them having the lead, because they missed a lot of wide open looks. Realistically, they did.
And in a lot of those possessions, we forced players other than Doncic and Kyrie to take the shot, which I'm sure was a part of the game plan.
Yeah.
And we'll take those numbers, right? Jalen Hardy had a streak where he was torching us.
Yeah.
But other than that, you got to live with the numbers of the overall rest of their team taking those shots. And so the team seems to be really clicking right now. We've got the Pistons coming in on Wednesday, and they've broken their streak, but they are
luckily.
So there's not that pressure, but they're coming in. It's a team that we should handle at home, right? There should be a pretty good size spread. And then at that point, we are going to go into soul-searching mode, and we're going to have to find out what is up with our team. We're going to put it to the test. We're going to put it in the fire.
And we play the 3 top teams in the East back to back to back. All on the road.
Yep. So, and we have we play Friday and Saturday, and then our third game on the road on Monday of Celtics, Sixers, Bucks. I'm not sure it's in that order. I probably messed up the order, but
probably
it's coming up. I'll look it up. But that's a stretch where we could reasonably lose all 3 and still be a positive road stretch for me.
Yeah.
It's likely that we would lose all 3, right? So Friday's at the Celtics, Saturday's at the Sixers, Monday's at the Bucks. And those are teams that are going to challenge us in every way. And so I'd like to see a team that doesn't fold on the road, that doesn't crumble if we go through a stretch where our shots aren't falling, that doesn't turn on each other, that doesn't shut down.
Right.
That searches for lineups and effort in moments in games where we can claw back in and make a game of it. So if you're a team that's climbing back up into middle of the pack status, which it looks like we are, it looks like we're clawing back towards 500. I mean, after the Pistons game, assuming we win that, we're just 3 wins off of 500.
Yeah.
Which, if you would have talked to, if we would have all talked a month ago, that's ludicrous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
we were looking like freaking Spurs and then us.
Right. We talked about pretty clearly 13th in the West, right? Is what it was looking like. So those 3 games on the road trip, we're going to find out what we're made of and if this is real or not and what's happening. And also at that point, we will also be inching close and kind of getting middle of January, closer to the trade deadline where things can move and happen. So you have an interesting stretch over the next month.
Which I'm hoping we, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we start to see majority of our trades with it. Probably won't, but I am going to the game on January 18th, and so I'd like some trades to be done by then when I'm there live. It probably won't happen, but we'll see.
I can see that happen.
Gonna go see OKC.
Yeah, that'll be a great game to be at. That'll be another strong test at home, right?
Right. Yeah. So we go after that 3-game road stretch. We then come home for 6 in a row, our longest stretch of this season, and then immediately go on the road for 6 in a row, our longest road stretch in the season. So this January is going to be could be a very kind of roller coaster month. We'll see where the dust settles.
In our first home game, when we get back, I failed to mention, it's against the Nuggets. Nuggets are coming to town. So after the Pistons, the next 4 games are going to be
rough.
That's going to be legit being put to the fire, seeing what's real, seeing what's not.
Yeah.
And as a coach, it kind of couldn't happen at a better time.
Right.
I mean, we're starting to click. Things are starting to happen. The team is excited. They're gelled. They're close, right? You can see the interactions on the bench. Everybody except for one silent guy.
And now that's something we got to talk about tonight. It is very, very obvious that Taylor Horton-Tucker is not just out of the regular rotation. He's might as well have packed his bags. It almost feels like we were up 40, and instead of bringing him back in, we brought in Colin Sexton.
Brought Colin Sexton back in once Clarkson hit his triple-double.
Yes.
There's some signs, right? And if you break it all down, Taylor Horton-Tucker does have...
Taylor Horton-Tucker,
Triple T. He does have stats, right? He's a player that gets his stats, is very ball control heavy, rhythm disruptor when he's in. And some people really like that and really kind of rave about him as a player and really like him. I even see analysts on TV saying they like him because he does get stats, and when he's on, he can influence a game.
Right.
But I think the decision has been made that he does not contribute to consistent winning.
Right.
I think that's the way you have to break it down and look at it. He gets his stats. There are sometimes that he goes off and does some crazy stuff. Yes, his off-ball shooting percentage has gone up to this time, but he's not an off-ball player. He has to have the ball in his hands all the time. So That doesn't mean crap.
Yep.
So you have to look at it as the decision's most likely been made that he does not contribute consistently to winning. Doesn't mean he's a bad person or a bad player. Doesn't fit our system. Doesn't fit what we need. I think there are teams out there that could use him and styles that could use him.
Yeah.
A team like, I think the Houston Rockets would drool over a prospect like him coming off the bench. He's a Houston Rockets type player.
We'll take Amen Thompson.
I would accept your offer, sir.
Yeah.
Those are my opinions.
So, yeah, I feel like he's got to be gone. Trade-wise, it just doesn't make sense at this point. Even if it's something more of like you just kind of get a pick and then you call up, for the rest of the year or sign him to the rest of the year or whatever. You call it Bryce Sensbaugh, but you probably wouldn't want to do that because you're wanting him to get development. So you probably call up someone like Josh Christopher to be kind of that very end of the bench guard, just in case kind of thing, which I'd be okay with too, because Josh Christopher's been playing well in the G League, and so
yes,
we'll definitely see what happens there. But tonight was fun. Tonight, I mean, like you won by 40, you broke the streak of triple doubles, like it was such a fun game to watch because they're really, like I said, besides you take away Sexton and basically everyone really played within the offense, and we scored 130, points. And that's the type of game when you look at Jordan Clarkson, it's like you can have this type of game if you are willing to be within the offense. You can be a superstar 6-man within the offense.
Right. Yeah, that's
and allow our team to continue to flow. Not live or die with you.
He can achieve things well beyond a role player. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So it was good to see that.
That was fun, man. Takes us back to the year that he won the 6-Man of the Year award. He was having fun and kind of dishing out passes and assists all over.
The Mavericks even let Kelly Olynyk freaking cock it back and dunk it on them like that.
I'm not going to lie. I was screaming to keep our starters in the whole game, though. To win by 50.
Beat them by 50. I'm always okay with beating the Dallas Mavericks by 50.
Especially that crap that we pulled back down there. Anyways, yeah, that would have been okay with me to keep running it up, cherry picking the entire time. I don't care.
Yeah. And like you said, Fontecchio looked like he was going to drop 40 points tonight.
He was playing well.
And so overall, top to bottom, this probably was our best game from not just a team standpoint, an individual standpoint, top to bottom. There's a couple bad performances in there, but overall, it was one of those things where it's like every single player on the court was having a good positive impact.
In a game where
and we still really didn't shoot that well. We shot 27% from the 3-point line.
We didn't do crazy circus things. We moved the ball. We played energetic, fast-paced, moving the basketball type of a game and scored a ton of points. And our best 2 offensive players of late really didn't score that much.
Right. Markkanen really struggled with his shot tonight.
Yeah.
Like you said, it seems like there's an injury. He had some tape on his right shoulder. So I wonder what's going on there.
Still was shooting from outside, but really didn't have his same pop. There was a couple of times defensively he didn't really move his feet at the normal speed he did. Yeah. I wonder if there's something going on there.
Kessler had 4 blocks tonight off the bench.
Kessler came in nicely. So it's a situation where our bench and the rest of our team rose up and destroyed them, and on a game where our stars really didn't perform that well. So that's a great problem to have.
Yes, it's a great,
something we can duplicate all the time with effort, energy, and moving the ball.
And that right there, right? It shows the offense and defensive style that Will Hardy's trying to build this team towards. If we can get a full buy-in from every single one of the players, what kind of potential offensively we can have. You put our 3-point numbers back to normal. We score 150 points against these guys.
Yeah, it would be an absolute beatdown.
And like I said, I felt like first half our defense wasn't as good. I felt like we did, like you said, you want to get the ball out of the Stars' hands, but we did give up a lot of open looks, and they were just missing them. I mean, Derek Lively, I feel like, just bobbled to alley-oop dunks. It was one of those things where the Mavericks almost shot themselves in the foot in the first half, and then in the second half, we kind of sensed that and then put our foots on their throat. And that's what the best teams in the league have to be able to consistently do. When other teams struggle, you don't just kind of struggle with them and hope for the best. You sense that struggle and you really kind of just put it down on them.
Yeah, it's when you taste the blood in the water, you do want to put your foots on their throat. Some people would call it feet, but whichever. That's something that a young team has to transition and get into kind of the more killer mentality, and that's what we're hoping to see. So that's a fun win and a sign that makes me excited to watch Wednesday's game and can't wait for the road trip. Actually, win or lose,
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued at this point by the road trip because we went into this stretch of games thinking, man, we're going to be going against the Pistons, losing freaking 4 or 5 straight.
We could lose, like we said, 6 of 7. We could lose easily, and that wasn't even counting playing the Nuggets once we got home. So great signs. Will Hardy, who's obviously a very much an offensive coach and trying to get that to click. It's just been a great, we have several versatile defensive players on this team, and that's been great moves by the front office, and he's getting that to gel at the right time.
I felt like we went less of that 3-2 zone in the second half, that they were getting a lot of open looks off in the first half. The box and one was fine. Box and one, we actually moved really well together, but the 3-2 zones, we were giving them a lot of easy looks in the paint and at the 3-point line in the first half.
It's true.
And went away from that in the second half and made adjustments. That's what you have to do as a coach.
It was crazy that there were times when we were in that zone that it was just one simple pass to the guy on the wing and it was a wide open 3.
Yeah.
That blows me away.
Yeah, so the adjustments we made needed to be made in the second half. We got lucky defensively in the first half, and then in the second half made those adjustments to now you're not getting easy looks and you're already struggling. You can do that the right way, and it allows you to go win a game by 40 points. And so, awesome win. Super happy for Clarkson. I'm happy that the Jazz broke the streak. We both kind of were putting money on it. We figured it'd be Olynyk to be the guy that would break that streak out of anyone on this roster, but I'm happy. I'm happy to see Clarkson do it in a game that he played within the offense, right? He did it in a game that it was a super well earned triple-double, right? It wasn't
Absolutely.
It wasn't one of those games where it's like he has 6 assists and you're like, man, were 4 of those assists even assists? This game, it's hard to look at any one of his assists this game and not think, man, he did a great job setting that up. And so for this to be the game that it happened, I'm glad it was.
Yeah, tip your cap to that. Well played. And And I think that we are really tapping into his highest levels of basketball by having him come off the bench. I think that
That's
has
where
really,
that is where he
I
belongs.
think that's really started to click. And yeah, it might be a blow to the ego, right? May not be what he ideally wants to do. He wants to start, wants to have that acknowledgement, but it's really what fits best is having him come off the bench. So things are starting to click. Great game by Clarkson. Man, that was fun.
Yep. And then Wednesday we get the Detroit Pistons. Glad we don't have to deal with them not breaking a streak against us.
That would have been a little bit nerve-wracking.
We'll see you guys Wednesday.